Stop reading these articles, you'll lose brain cells. I just find it hilarious that someone could write this. We have this tweet from Georg Meier. He's a German grandmaster. He tweets, what is this tweet? Hashtag Ahedras, hashtag chess. My federation change has been initiated. Germany to Uruguay. I hope to lift the profile of Uruguayan chess. In my youth, I spent a lot of time between Colonia, Salto, MVD, and Punta. My mother was born and raised in MVD after her parents escaped the Holocaust. MVD, I believe, is Montevideo, if I'm not mistaken, the capital of Uruguay. I had no idea about this. It's definitely interesting. Quite a change. Germany seems to be losing a lot of their top players. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, but it is definitely unusual because they lost Arkady Knightage, who was very strong grandmaster. Now they've lost Meyer as well. Those are probably their two strongest players in terms of people who grew up in Germany, who played a lot of chess there. So very surprising for sure to see, but who knows? It's gonna be interesting in terms of what happens, I guess. But what's not clear is, does that mean he's living there, or is he just changing his federation? Because there is a difference. What is this video? Okay.
T-shirt from the movie Coming to America, and it's kind of symbolic that I'm coming to America, becoming part of this country.
Together with his girlfriend, Levon Aronian has moved into his new home next door to the chess club in St. Louis, USA. He was first introduced to chess by his sister at 8 years old in Armenia. Since then, he's come a long way.
She taught me to play chess because she said, okay, you're too annoying, here, do something. And then, yeah, then I fell in love with the game.
Levon had an incredible natural...
Oh, by the way, to be clear, you guys, when they say they have chess at school, Levon grew up in Armenia about, he's what, like close to 40? I think it's like 38 or 39. So 30 years ago, there was no chess in the schools. Just to be clear, that's a recent trend in Armenia in the last, like, probably last decade or so. I don't know specifically, but definitely not 30 years ago. Just to be clear.
Talent for chess. And at only 10 years old, the family became dependent on him to get food on the table.
Because of the fall of Soviet Union and a lot of problems in Armenia, my father and my mother, they were not earning anything really. So I was earning the money by getting sponsors. Okay, there were of course tears, but it's very easy when you don't really have like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. No, I knew that I had to do this. My first successful tournament, I was playing under 12 in Szeged in Hungary, and my mother came to the tournament, but we couldn't afford her to stay in a hotel with us, and she was staying. We made an arrangement that the bus that took us to Hungary from Moldova, she could stay there. So she stayed on the bus for 11 days. You know, she would come to the hotel, we would sneak her in so she could have a shower and things like that, or bring her something to eat, but she would stay on the bus for 11 days. Yeah, there were a lot of sacrifices from my parents.
His parents sacrificed a lot during the 1990s. Life was hard in Armenia back then, so Levon's success as a chess player was there.
By the way, you know what's amazing about this picture, by the way, you guys? I'm just looking at this picture. Every single one of these players went on to become a grandmaster as well. Like, these players are clearly juniors here, but they all went on to become very strong grandmasters. Like, every single player here became like 2,600 plus. Because on the left, that's Tigran Petrosian, that's Levon Aronian, that's of course Varuzhin Akobian, and that's also Gabriel Sargsyan. And all four of those players got to like 2,630 plus. So it's pretty amazing, actually.
Only hope.
Back in the day, okay, I did have some sponsors, but I knew that if I travel to one tournament and if I don't play well, I cannot play any more tournaments. And in order to secure myself, which was of course foolish of me, at the age of 15 I would play blitz at nights just to earn some money on the side, because for amateurs of different countries, I think this $5 a game was nothing. But for me, $5 was a huge amount of money.
The Armenians are sad to see Levon leave. But at 38 years old, he feels this is the best option for him to keep pursuing his dream of becoming the world chess champion.
Oh, it's very nice being in St. Louis. There are pictures of me on the street next to the chess club. There are pictures of me in the some cafes and restaurants. You can see I'm a popular person in St. Louis. I feel very welcomed here, and also the people at the club and everybody that is working for the club are very welcoming, so that's very enjoyable. And my neighbors are Caruana and Dominguez, so it doesn't really matter where I am. I'm anyway a pretty boring person, just working on chess and trying to improve.
All right, yeah, so I think what I would say is, I mean, obviously his story is quite dramatic in terms of like the Soviet Union, but I would say while it's on the far extreme, a lot of chess players who've gone on to become very strong, their parents have made sacrifices. Maybe not as extreme perhaps as Levon's case, but a lot of parents have made big sacrifices. So it's not a isolated situation or an isolated story. So yeah, maybe Magnus actually, to be fair, Magnus is maybe the one case where that's not actually true. Like if I think about it, like let me just use Fabiano as a good example. Fabiano's father, basically, he owns some property. I think it was in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken, or in New York City, maybe Manhattan as well. But he sold all of that property so he could go to Hungary and he could fund Fabiano's like lessons and playing tournaments and so forth. So like that's one example. My example is actually it's kind of the same thing, where essentially what happened is my stepfather, the money that he would make from teaching, he used it to send my mother and I to tournaments. So that's just like two examples. I'll just use Fabiano and myself right off. Magnus is a little bit different though, because Magnus's father was an oil executive. So Magnus's father was an oil executive who was able to retire early. So it's a little bit of a different story in the case of Magnus. But there are a lot of examples that are very similar to, maybe not to the extreme as I said, like Levon's, but where sacrifice had to be made. So it's really good to hear. And then yeah, as far as living in St. Louis, I mean, Levon is in St. Louis right now. I'm gonna say that I kind of wonder how long it's going to be until Levon comes out here to LA, actually, because I assume at some point he'll probably join the Armenian community. I mean, there are a lot of Armenian chess players out here, especially in the Glendale area. So I expect at some point that he'll actually come out to LA, but who knows when. Anyway, but it's a really good video to see. And obviously for Levon, he's been through a lot, I think, in the last year and a half. I mean, what's not mentioned in this video, of course, is that he did lose his wife. I think it was maybe a year and a half ago now, in early 2020. And that of course was obviously a huge thing too. So yeah, a lot of stuff obviously, but really good video to watch. Now I'm going to segue into something else. Levon talks about how if he didn't do well, he wouldn't be invited to other tournaments. Now, one of the things that makes chess very, very difficult is that if you look at the world rankings, players who are sort of below a certain rating get very, very few invitations to tournaments. And if you don't get invitations to tournaments, it's very hard to gain ranking and improve your standing. And so like the reason I segue from what Levon said is that in the US Championship right now, one of the top, basically the top American junior player for a long time, Jeffrey Zhang, is doing very badly in the US Championship. I don't know if I really should show it, but I will. I'll just go to 2700 chess. Let me pull up the top 100 list. He was at 2720 maybe a year ago or so, and he was getting a lot of invitations. But Jeffrey, he had a bad Singfield Cup, he had a bad event here, and as you see, he's down to 2684. So because of this bad result for For Jeffrey, it's very unlikely he's going to get invitations. So Jeffrey's going to have to like have like 2 or 3 good tournaments in a row just to get back to that point where he has the opportunity to play in these invitational tournaments. And this is a good example of why chess is so difficult, because even if you get to like a high rating like 27-20, you have a couple of bad tournaments, you lose like 20-30 points, just like that, all the invitations are gone, and then you have to get back there just to have the opportunity once again. So it's very, very difficult. It's a very, very difficult lifestyle, because you have to always perform no matter what. Okay, we have this article. What is this? Hikaru Nakamura from Twitch superstar to 21 onboard rounds undefeated. First of all, this is an article from worldchess.com. Last time I checked, 9 plus 18 equals 27, not 21. So I'm pretty sure it's should be 27, not 21. I'm very disappointed, considering that this is an article on a professional chess website that they say 21 games. This is a 7. This looks like this is a 1. It's not a 7. That's a 1. That's a 1. You're saying that's a 7? Is this some weird font? It looks like a 1 to me. No matter what angle I look at, it looks like a 1. I mean, I guess if I look off this way, I guess you could say it's a 7, but it looks much closer to a 1 than a 7. I don't know. It looks like a 1 to me. Maybe it's just a funky font. But anyway, maybe it's a funky font. Anyway, the American GM and streamer, 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm not really sure why. This matters exactly, but okay. I'm pretty sure if you ask me about my stats, I'm actually prouder of my Twitch followers than the YouTube subscribers. So kind of weird that they show the lower number, but anyway, whatever. 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube. Hikaru Nakamura dominated at the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz tournament without losing a single game. The Twitch superstar managed to go through all 27 rounds against 2,700 plus rated players, setting a record for the tournament. All right, let's keep going. I think we can see it, right? Yeah, here we go. All right. Okay. With 3 rounds to spare, Nakamura won the event, leaving Fabiano Caruana and Richard Rapport at the 2nd and 3rd place, respectively. The 5-time US champion was heavily judged the past year for making streaming his main career. Sorry, wait a second. Was heavily judged for the past years for making streaming his main career? I must be missing something. Heavily judged by who exactly? Yeah, I passed heavy judgment. No, but David Howe and the whole Chess Champions Tour is completely different. They're just mad at me for making draws. That has nothing to do with streaming. All right, that's very interesting. The 5-time US champion was heavily judged the past years for making streaming his main career, despite the fact that he could still fight in the World Championship cycle and other elite events at the professional level. Nakamura explained in his recent interview that when he didn't qualify for the Kansas in 2019, he decided to become a streamer instead. Okay, well, this is also taking comments out of context. If there were, I think this interview, I'm gonna rip this to shreds just because I can. They're talking about an interview that I did for the I think in St. Louis after I beat Fabiano in this classic game in the Spanish, which got me to first place in the rapid portion, where basically I said that what happened is when I didn't win the game against Fabiano in Isle of Man, I didn't qualify, that I became a streamer. That was very tongue-in-cheek, obviously, so it's kind of weird that they're taking that as though it's some kind of huge quote, or I literally said that when I sort of was saying it tongue-in-cheek. But anyway, let's keep going. All right. Notwithstanding the early disapproval of the chess fans. What? Wait, I'm sorry. Who wrote this article? Notwithstanding the early disapproval of the chess fans, there were maybe like 5 people who were like really annoyed at me for streaming. This is interesting. Yeah. What are these guys smoking? Notwithstanding the early disapproval of chess fans, streaming seemed to have helped Nakamura perfect his skills in fast chess, as he consistently exhibited error-free play, unlike the tournament favorites Caruana and Rapport, who blundered throughout the weekend. Now, the funny thing is also, this is a chess website. I'm pretty sure the favorites in the event were not Fabiano and Richard. The favorites in the event were Fabiano and Wesley. So, a little bit confused by that too. Because based on the online events, Wesley had to be one of the favorites. It was not Fabiano and Richard. It was Fabiano and Wesley who were the 2 favorites. Anyway, so how did this happen? How did Nakamura, who effectively retired from professional chess, become so good? Probably he played a lot of fast chess while streaming, even more than when he was a professional chess player, and he simply streamed himself into becoming one of the strongest players in the world. What is this? Okay, first let's start with the first thing. I have not retired from professional chess. As I've said before, I am playing the Grand Swiss in Riga, Latvia in a couple of weeks. So I'll just talk about this broadly. So a lot of people have said this where they think I'm retired. First of all, I'm not retired from chess. I do intend to play in Riga. That's the first thing. And secondly, there have been very few tournaments over the board. So when people act like I've avoided playing every event, that's simply not true. I did not play in the Grand Chess Tour, as I said, because I chose to play in the online tour instead. At the time that they were going to hold the Grand Chess Tour, it was not clear they would be able to hold it. They asked people to confirm their participation in December of 2019 before there was even a publicly available vaccine. And those events were going to be held in December of 2020. 2020. They asked in December of 2020, or was it December 2020? Yeah, December 2020, and the events were going to be held in June of 2021. So that's the first thing that I would say in terms of that. So there was a Grand Chess Tour, which I skipped because I was playing online. I was playing the tour. The second thing is that what other events are there outside the Grand Chess Tour that I could have played in? You're actually hard pressed to come up with events. There was the what was there? Maybe the Sinkfield Cup is one event. There was the World Cup. Those are really the only two big events that I skipped out on. Norway Chess, I was already committed to playing the 960 in St. Louis at the same time, so Norway doesn't count. So I basically skipped the World Cup and I skipped the Sinkfield Cup. Those are the only two tournaments that I skipped. So by skipping two tournaments, the only two tournaments really that were happening, apparently I'm retired. So that's it's good to know. That's the first thing. Second thing, probably played how did I play so well? There probably played a lot of fast chess while streaming, even more than when he was a professional chess player, and he simply streamed himself into becoming one of the strongest players in the world. I don't know who wrote this article, but I'm going to be blunt. They should be fired, frankly, because whoever wrote this doesn't know anything about chess. I mean, that's like implying that I was not a good chess player before. Obviously, I was #1 ranked in the world at Rapid and Blitz at various points in the past couple of years. So I don't know what these people are talking about, because this is just obscene. It's just insane that someone wrote this. I mean, if you know, I would hope that people who are writing chess articles on a chess website would actually know something about chess. Because it's insane. I mean, it's insane. They're basically saying that I was nobody before I started streaming. Which is just, it's sad to see this on a chess website. On a non-chess website, I completely could understand it, but on a chess website, I mean, seriously, very, very sad to see this. Very, very sad. Name and shame the website. It's on World Chess. It's on the feed. It's on this. It's not FIDE technically, but it is like a FIDE website. But yeah, very, very. I don't even know what to say. Very, very insane. So yeah, stop reading these articles. You'll lose brain cells. I just find it hilarious that someone could write this. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if they had written this article like 20 years ago that I got good by playing a lot of Blitz on the internet, maybe that would be true. But anyway, Hikaru couldn't break 1,000 before he started streaming. I know, tough grind, right? I only gained 1,800 points in the last 2 years, but insane.